And then these guys, they're not as lively as the morning class.
There's a few left.
Anybody match that enthusiasm?
What?
What? I mean, did you guys just wake up or did you already just have lunch and?
Probably lunch.
Woke up and had breakfast? Okay, so you guys get released at what time?
4:25.
So how long do you want me to talk today?
However long.
Well, we got a test today, so.
Okay, I can do it. I'm here for you guys. You tell me how long you want me to talk. Hour and a half?
4 hours, the whole day.
Oh, man. Okay, 2 hours is what I'm hearing. I promise to have you out of here in under 2 hours. Deal? Okay, I just need some like enthusiasm and participation and like show of love and all that good stuff. Cool? We got that?
Yeah.
Okay. We good? Okay.
We're recording.
So we're recording, perfect. So let me fix my hair, make sure I'm presentable. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Spranzi. I'm from Leidos. I work on Scott Air Force Base over in Illinois. I work on a contract called GSMO, fairly large contract. We support the Department of Defense and all of their telecommunication needs. Okay, so if it's got a network cable plugged into it, you can bet your bottom dollar that we are supporting that in some way, shape, or form. Okay. The reason I'm here today, and the reason I was here last year at the same time, is I wanted to come here to talk about what Leidos is, what do we do, and then I'm going to turn it over to my partner over here, Jeremy, and then Jeremy's going to talk specifically what we do on Scott Air Force Base. And then during his presentation, he's going to dive into all the different technologies that we do. So this is the interesting part for you all is the degree tracks that you're in all are applicable to exactly what we do on Scott Air Force Base. So this is kind of an exposure of, hey man, Leidos does some really cool things on Scott Air Force Base. I'm going to graduate next year sometime. So if I could take you down this track, this is what they're hiring for. I might have a shoe in, okay? We got Bryce over here. He's going to talk a little bit about what his section does. And then I'm going to come back on the stage and I am going to talk professional development. And that professional development, we're going to talk about resume writing. We're going to talk about dressing for success. We're going to talk about an upcoming job fair. You all tracking a job fair next month? Anybody know the date?
16.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so those are some of the types of things that I'm going to talk about and wrap it up. So again, no more 2 hours, I promise. You got a test to take. I want you to go back and cram, do whatever you got to do. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off. Oh, we got the clicker working now. We are high tech here at Ranken. Bam. Okay, again, intro to Leidos, GSMO overview, professional development, grow with us, questions. So before we jump into this gentleman right here, a little bit about myself. So again, Tom Spranzi. I retired from the Air Force after 22 years in 2014. So when I retired, I became a contractor. I went right back on Scott Air Force Base. I was a SharePoint developer, so some software development type things. And then I joined DISA Global. DISA Global is where we work on Scott Air Force Base. DISA Global is the combatant command that employs Leidos to do all the telecommunications stuff. So DISA Global is kind of a big deal in the Department of Defense when we're talking IT kind of stuff. So that's a little bit of my history. I've been there for Leidos for 5 years now. I'm one of the managers. I run the configuration management section. So all the circuits and the nodes out there all run through my database that my team manage and so on. The stuff that we do helps Jeremy's team down on the floor and so on, but we'll dive a little bit more into that. So that's my story. That's how I got to Leidos. I'm also the intern manager for what we do on Scott Air Force Base. I've been the intern manager for about 5 years now. Pretty passionate about that program. We have a great success rate with bringing interns in and converting them to full-time positions. Okay, we're about 92% on that. We lose some interns to, pick a company. Okay, that's fine. If Leidos isn't the fit for you, I understand. I just want to prepare you to be successful wherever you want to go. Okay, let's talk about this gentleman right here. This is Roger Crone. He is the CEO of our company. We are 44,000 strong. We're a global company. We are everywhere across the globe, supporting all facets of civil, defense, intelligence, and so on. Okay? We're based out of Reston, Virginia. Very, very educated group of folks, okay? I take exception to that. Everybody else is very educated, very smart, okay? You can see we are 20%, veteran employed. So myself and Jeremy, we make up part of that 20%. So I'm very proud to work with a company that respects their veterans. That's important to me, okay? And then also, I'm very proud to work with a company that's constantly being recognized for, their inclusion program, best practices, best cybersecurity companies, best IT companies in the world. And we'll talk a little bit more about our accolades in some more slides. Leidos is made up of 4 markets: civil defense, health, intelligence. I'm here to pretty much talk about the defense sector. That's what we do to support the work we do on Scott Air Force Base. I want you to know that all the tracks, the IT tracks that you're in today, all can be supported across all of our 4 domains. IT's everywhere. I think we all understand that. Okay, just because I'm talking about one small section of my 44,000 plus company, there's opportunities across all of our markets there. We're all over the globe right here, 90% domestic, 410 locations, so pick a spot. So if you're out there and you're currently working with Leidos and you're on Scott Air Force Base and you're like, man, I would really love to go to pick a spot, there is a high probability we are at pick a spot. Okay, that's one of the good things of being a company our size and having a diverse market across the world. You got that, you got the room for growth, and you got the room to go out and explore new opportunities. Okay, you're not stovepiped in this company. Okay, this is the time I turn it over to Jeremy Sedlak. Again, he runs the operations section at our GSMO contract on Scott Air Force Base. He's going to give an overview of, again, the different types of technologies that we work on. So while he's going over this stuff, again, he's going to kind of talk high level. We're not going to get down to the weeds, but I kind of want you to think of how your degree programs, whether you're security or the network track, whether you're software development, I want you to kind of think of how do you see yourself in any one of these little programs that we support across the board. There is a job for everyone. Doesn't mean we can hire everybody, but I just want you to know that the work that you're doing is valuable work. And I truly believe that IT work is just employable by everybody in today's market. Okay? So with that, Jeremy, oh, you boss.
Okay, hey. So my name is Jeremy Sedlak, like Tom said. Here's my slide. I've been at Leidos for 5 years. I retired in 2018. I did 26 years in the Air Force.
Overachiever.
My commitment, right? I didn't want to leave. I was happy. I started my career in radio and then transitioned kind of more into the IT, networking, that sort of thing as a manager over there. Started off in GRSS, which is a security stack system that the DoD implemented. We'll kind of get into that here in the future. And then a year later, took over as a manager of that section and then over as a deputy investigator. All right, let's talk about some of the customer focused stuff that we have here and the people that we support. So Tom kind of touched on it. Anybody in the DoD right now around the world, all of their network stuff is run through our sections. They do everything from networking, phone, video services, security. We'll touch a little bit on cyber, which is everybody's favorite thing in the outside world there. Everybody wants to be a part of the cyber team, but that's a team that sits next to us. We are on 24/7, so we run 3 shifts. Tom's group upstairs is a little different than ours down there, but there's coverage on all of our teams for 24/7. So weekends, holidays, 365 days a year. We're at Scott. Our sister site's out at Hill Air Force Base in Utah, which is Ogden, just a little bit off of Salt Lake City. If we have something go on here where we lose our comms, they pick it up and they move over there. So we interact with them all day, every day. And then Tom also covered a little bit about some of the other sites, which we'll ping on here in a couple slides that we rely on for support when it's daytime in other parts of the world. The other way. All right, so this is it's kind of a breakdown of some of the things that we have. All of these things over here, gateways, terrestrial transport, they all fall under different groups in there. We'll cover those. The SATCOM portion of it, those are tactical missions. They have big dishes, but they also have tactical satellite stuff, radio communications from the warfighters out on the front lines back in. You can kind of see how the network piece in the middle, all the different things that they cover. There's security and then different mission support areas that we also engage in. Once we get to the next couple slides with Transport IT, that team right there, you can see some of the circuits and stuff. That's just 17, but right now they're at about 55,000. Bryce will cover his portion of this in the future or a couple slides later, but what he does to actually take customer requirements and build those out, they get sent down to us and we manage them, and then Tom's team tracks some of that as well. In my section is operations and maintenance. So we're kind of the incident handlers. All the tickets come in through us initially. We work all of that until we get to a point where we can't. We escalate it up to the OE team, which is operational engineering. They have a similar structure of what we have. Their engineers are just a little bit older and a little bit more qualified on the technology.
We're not older, we're more seasoned.
Yeah.
Seasoned.
I said older, sorry. And then operational support team, they basically provide us with tools and applications for us to do our job. So all of our traffic that we log in through and look at devices, we do it through their equipment and the support that they provide. You can kind of see how your degrees down here at the bottom align to those different areas. So the networking track, obviously routers and switches, everything within a network runs through routers and switches. You guys are, how many are you first year? Are you guys all first? Or some about kind of a mix. So those that have been here a while, if you're getting in through CCNA, you're building in the lab, you see those routers and switches, 3 routers and a couple switches. Well, just picture 25, 30,000 routers and switches is what these guys deal with on an 8-hour shift in a day. We kind of touched on it in the last group that was in here, but they'll come in at 7 in the morning and work till 3 in the afternoon, and they might handle 30 or 40 issues with customers somewhere in the world that are having problems with the network. Could be anything from a firewall policy blocking to commercial vendors cable cut somewhere from a farmer plowing his field. I mean, there's just some of the things that happen. We had one incident that was a bridge was expanding when it got cold and it was disconnecting a fiber. So how do you troubleshoot that problem? It was insane to figure that out, but just some weird things that you see on there. Server admin side, a lot of the application stuff and the development things that you guys will be, some of you will go through, applies directly to those. And again, I think the application web development piece of it is probably geared more towards that operational support. But as Tom touched on, there's jobs throughout the company, throughout the world that they have that all of these degrees that you guys are going through are critical to. And you guys fit perfectly in a lot of those cases.
So a little bit furthermore, so for the application web development, tracks, everything is going mobile, everything's an app, everything is automation, everything is about increasing efficiencies, everything is about doing the work in the background so the operators can focus on some other thing. So if you're in this track, it is very important to understand all through Leidos, you've got a role. Everything that we do on GSMO involves software development. We need smart people to come in there and do programming behind the scenes that make stuff happen behind the scenes. We got an entire innovations group that is constantly hiring software development. Now, they might not be hiring entry level, but they're nonstop bringing in these really smart people to do these applications development. So if you're in this track and you don't see how you fit in any one of these sections, I'm happy to talk to you about it, but I also want you to see in the big Leidos, or pick a company, how important your skill sets are to the development of all the stuff they're pushing out.
Yeah, I think particularly the stuff we're seeing now with automation, intelligence learning, bots, that sort of thing, that's coming big for us some of the tools that we have, they're developing that now to kind of speed up processes for us. So it's definitely very important. Okay, so here's our footprint. Majority of our folks are here at Scott Air Force Base. We have a lot that sit here. We have, I think on our team right now, we have about 150 here. And then Hill is our other location. It's about a third the size, so around 50 over there. Hawaii, Korea, Bahrain, and Europe are some of our sites that have our OEs, and they're kind of follow the sun pattern. So if we have a problem going on, we can always reach out to somebody that's on shift there as well. And they'll provide us that layer 2 and higher kind of experience that they have. They're seasoned employees for us, and they take care of some of the specialized needs that we need assistance with. So opportunities all over the globe. If you're interested, we have a couple slots in Bahrain. If anybody wants to volunteer now, we get you signed up and no good. So they advertised a job, and one of the guys that worked for me, he's like, well, can I just go there for like 3 months? And I was like, no. That's not really how that whole job thing works. You go there, they need you there. It's not just a couple days a week or whatever, but definitely a good opportunity to get away and do something that maybe some other people haven't had the opportunity. All right, so for us here in the St. Louis, I almost said Seattle, that's where I was years ago, but in the St. Louis area, TN02s, our field service engineers, they're sort of our physical layer guys. So if we have a network outage like that bridge issue that I was talking about, we might have one of those guys go physically to that site, look at the cable connections, make sure they're there. One of the jobs we had going on a ticket, I think last week, they were having issues and we sent somebody out there and they're like, hey, there's not even any equipment here anymore. So we reach out to the customer, like, oh yeah, we removed that. I'm like, well, that's how you get your service. You removed your service. So we're gonna probably work with you guys later to get that all put back online. But those guys in that task order 2, they go out there to do the physical layer stuff for us. And then TN06 is part of Bryce's group upstairs, customer advocacy and circuit activation team. They're going to build out customer requirements into a circuit and a service that they can use to actually join the net and do all of the work that they have to do. TN09, our net assurance team, that's our cyber guys. Very detailed, specific mission set that they look at every day. A lot of great stuff in there, but again, we talked about it for the last class. Everybody wants to do that, but sometimes you get hit with something you're not really sure you want to do anymore. It's a challenging role. It's not all that cool spy versus spy hacking stuff. Some of it's reviewing thousands and thousands of lines of code just to find out where the missing comma or period or spaces, and that's pretty rough work. And then TN11 we have out there as well, where they're basically doing install work for GRSS, which is kind of, I'm not saying it's going away. It's going to have an enhancement called Thunderdome that's coming up. So there's going to be another piece there that we'll be working on. Those are some of the things that we have here in the St. Louis area. NGA we support as well, and then on Scott Air Force Base on the opposite side is Transcom, which is another combatant command that we support. All right, so here's some of our infrastructure, and this is one of the teams I was talking about too. They have 57,000 circuits that Bryce's team upstairs built out over the course of however many years. Anytime there's traffic running down those circuits that has an issue, they'll call and open a ticket. So if you picture our customer base is basically everyone in any branch of the service, the Pentagon, the White House, anybody anywhere that runs through a Department of Defense network calls it and opens a ticket. So we run through about 65,000 tickets a year. So over the course of a day, that's a lot, a couple hundred a day that we'll work on. One of their things that they work is our boundary, which is our entry point into the internet. The IAPs up there, there's 10 of those globally, 2 in Europe, 2 in PAC, and then 6 across the CONUS. They all have failover capabilities between each other, so if one of them has an issue, they can route traffic to another one to keep it up and moving. And then again, like I said, we're 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, holidays, birthdays, every day. Unified capabilities is one of our teams. So what is unified capabilities? Basically all the landline phones that you have on both the NIPR and SIPR, so non-secure and secure networks. They also do voice and video services. You can see a picture down at the bottom corner. So any senior leaders in the DoD that need a travel flyaway kit, they're going to support that. Pack that up, take it on a trip. They can log in via satellite links or or third-party network country internet service and get back to whatever meetings and things that they have to work. Actually, I'll go back to this. So one of the kind of things that this team did, so picture COVID when everybody went home to work and everybody was in telework mode and having to VPN into stuff. These guys, I think their throughput went up 800% in tickets and things from voice services when COVID started. There was, I think, it's not on this one, but, oh yeah, 18,000. So they had an increase of 18,000 customers that they had to deal with on a phone using a virtual phone, which was pretty intense for them. We just actually shut down a big majority of those resources now that people come back to the office. GRSS, I kind of mentioned this. This is where the security stacks, DoD put in a program to protect data as it flows through. So if you think about data loss and prevention, bank account numbers, social security numbers, all of that fraud stuff that's out there, from the DoD network, it gets flagged and targeted, so it doesn't get out. There's 15 stacks. We lost one in CENT, they shut it down, so we're at 14 now. So there's one in CENT, 2 in Europe, and the rest here in the US. So they have the same failover capabilities as the internet access points. So if something goes down in one region, it'll fail to its secondary and then to a tertiary in another region to keep that traffic flow. These technicians work specifically with the agencies typically to just make sure that any issues they have, it's not being blocked. One of the special features there, the employees or the agencies actually put their own firewall filters and that stuff in, so it's on them to figure that out, but we can direct them to where they may have issues. We talked about this the last class. Now, if you're not familiar with firewalls and how that ACL list, usually there's maybe 40, 50 little lines of code in there. On these ones here, we had one agency had 350,000 lines of access control list blocks and permit statements. So lots going on there. Satellite gateway services, I kind of touched on this too. You see this defense person over here actually on a laptop feeding data, like probably some kind of mapping software through a satellite into a gateway and back to a team either in the States or somewhere else. It's not only the tactical missions for the military, but you can see natural disaster response. They did some stuff for COVID as well as wildfires. Some of the hurricane stuff that goes in the south when the internet's out down there's no communication, they'll drop these teams in there and they'll use that to support first responders down there. And then probably everybody's favorite that comes through our group is the Airborne Intelligence Surveillance and Reconnaissance tool. So they do all the RPAs and drones. So a lot of the video footage you see targeting, like some of the military news feeds that you see, all their video and data feeds come through this team here. There's about 18 of them on the floor at Scott, and I think there's eight or nine of them on the Hill floor as well. So if you picture this is sort of the attack piece of the overseas and then the surveillance piece over here. All of their data that they see, all those video feeds, these technicians that are kind of like you, did some networking, they came on the team and they get to support that and make it happen. And then one slide we talked about that I don't see in here anymore. It was kind of in line with this. Is our missile defense team. So basically, if you picture the U.S., there's a team that surveys the entire country and make sure any missiles from foreign nations coming across get detected. So the guys that work on the floor there actually make sure that data flows, so we have that capability here, which is pretty cool if you think about it. So operational engineer, what do they do? So there are our tier 2 level folks. They actually support us when we get to a troubleshooting piece that we can't figure out. We feel like we've run as far as we can go. We'll engage them. They'll come in and look at how the circuits are engineered or the devices are configured, how the interconnect is, maybe something you'll learn as BGP and ISIS and how the networks connect in the future. You may see that stuff in class, but they'll understand those networks and how that works. They'll help us develop that. Future capabilities too, they'll put them on there and have them engineer solutions to problems that people have. How do we get more bandwidth to something? How do we give them a capability they don't currently have? It's a pretty interesting team. Most of the people that you'll see that go to that come from downstairs in our team in operations. And then operational support systems, this is kind of what we touched on that slide, where this is all of our applications and our tools that come through that we use to actually defend and maintain the networks. So the software development side of training that you guys can get if you're in that track directly applies to this. They provide us with our ticketing systems. They provide us with remote access systems, a whole bunch of really interesting things. And then they fall under, I guess, server management kind of goes in that group as well. So all of our server that stores our data is housed through them and maintained there. And then net assurance. So this is the cyber team. Like I said, everybody kind of, this is the new great career out there, but you can see some of the things that they do over on that team, analyzing data, making sure that what's going through the network isn't going to be stolen or used for bad things. The denial of service attack stuff that comes in that you see news stories about, they're tracking those, making sure that it doesn't impact, bring down our country's infrastructure. One of the students in the last group was industrial control IT guy. So that stuff gets cyber attacked just like here. They can adjust the temperature in server rooms and shut down servers because of things that these guys are preventing. So I guess I didn't touch on this last time. Certification requirements are different for all these jobs. Most of them are Security Plus. Some of these here, like the net assurance ones, require CYSA or Certified Ethical Hacking. So those are additional certifications that you kind of need to get in. A couple of the students that I know, we picked one up just recently, was applied to the net assurance that it wasn't picked up there. But don't let that defeat you and say, well, I didn't get a job, so I might as well, do something else. Maybe I'll go into landscaping and I'll find something there. Not all of our positions bring on entry level. So we'll get you on another team, get you spun up, trained, get you more requirements that they need here, and then you can transfer over there. We do a lot of transfer between teams, just getting people where they need to be and where your career progression shows that you're going to go. Now I'm going to turn this over to Bryce. One of your fellow students.
Yep. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. My name is Bryce Brumfield. I have been at Leidos for 9 months now, working as an implementations intern. I am also a 4th semester student enrolled here at Ranken, going down the networking path. So since I began at Leidos, I've kind of been able to apply everything I've learned here at Ranken, but in the actual workplace. So, kind of at first, I was kind of just shoulder surfing with the other engineers that I work with, kind of learning how everything operated and how everything worked in an enterprise network. But I am now currently making active changes to the network and turning up circuits for the Department of Defense. So, as I said, I've been in implementations for 7 months. Implementations is kind of where circuits begin as nothing and kind of become operational on the network. So this is where the circuits are built, turned up, and so the first team of implementations is service activations. This is where I currently work at. This is where the circuits are built, activated, deactivated, and just anything to do with activating the circuit. This is where that occurs at. Impact team kind of provides customer support for the really dedicated projects. So this isn't just any normal circuit or any normal circuit activation. These are projects that are completely removing equipment or completely replacing the equipment. So this can be anything from taking the older equipment out and then putting new equipment in its place. So the modeling team. The modeling team is kind of a team that makes sure that the network isn't being overused or overpopulated. They kind of do this in a variety of different ways. They first way is kind of network allocation. Anytime a customer submits an order, they will kind of go onto the network and make sure that there's enough space and resource and bandwidth on that device for that circuit and for that service to be provided to the customer. Next up is the hardware installation team. They're the team that kind of deals with all brand new equipment right out of the box. They load baseline configurations onto that box, so they are kind of ready for those customer circuits to be applied to that box. They're also making sure that the equipment is coming quality from the factory. On the backbone team, they're kind of the ones that maintain all of our backbone part of the network. So this is where a lot of the traffic is flowing. So these circuits are normally very, very high bandwidth. I'm talking anywhere from 10 gigs up to 100 gigs. So these are circuits that are running either across military bases or from state to state, or even sometimes across the country. So, View team, they're kind of one that are managing the custom orders as they come in. They're the ones that are inputting the custom order information into our databases so that the engineers kind of know how the circuit is going to be built and just all the things that go into building the circuits. They can also re-engineer on the fly. So if an engineer is building a circuit onto a specific port and there's already a circuit built onto that port, the View team will kind of go in there, get us a new port, and do what they got to do to get that service to the customer. Last but not least is the operations team. This is the team that kind of overlooks implementations and kind of makes sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're going to be overlooking the metrics and the overall function of implementations. So yeah, so now that I've kind of gone over implementations, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back off to Tom personally.
So Bryce, before you do,
Yep.
how did you find out about the internship, and how did you find out about Leidos?
So I think it was either fall or spring job fair here at Ranken last year. I went to the Leidos table. I was speaking to Tom for a little bit, and I filled out the application for the summer intern rec for last summer, and I got interviewed, I got hired, and I've been kind of working with them ever since. And so I worked really hard. I got the certifications that I needed to do, and I recently got offered a full-time position. So,
All right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
With my security clearance and the certificates I have, a CCNA, Security Plus, A Plus, I kind of have like a lot of opportunities opened up for me. But I think that with the knowledge and experience that I've gained with Leidos and with the internship program, I really want to see myself kind of grow within Leidos. I want to continue building my relationship with Leidos. So yeah.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. You're more than welcome to have my job in a couple years when you are ready for it. Okay, so I want to back up a little bit. Well, I'm actually back up. I want to kind of hover on this slide a little bit. Again, operations and maintenance. This is where Jeremy works. This is the bulk of the work that we do downstairs at our operations center, 24/7, 365, holidays, birthdays, all of that stuff. That is like any network operations center that you're probably ever going to work out. This is the meat and taters of what we do. This is the interface with the customer. My stuff's broke. I work at the White House and the president's upset. Okay, we're gonna get it fixed, okay? Operational engineering, those are the upstairs guys. Those are the seasoned people, not old, seasoned people. They got a lot of experience, okay? When tier 1 can't fix something, they escalate it up to tier 2, we troubleshoot it. But they also look at, in 5 years, this technology that we're using today is gonna be outdated. Cisco's gonna come out with something new, fancy, sexy, and it's going to require us to reshape, our taxonomy. That's the team that says, okay, well, let's start planning something, okay? So they're the long range, operational, impact and engineering. Over here, the OSS, operational support systems, like Jeremy talked about, they're like the applications and so on. But they got all the servers down there. They got the server farms that they have to bring in sysadmins and so on to manage. Okay, I say all that, so you got 3 different unique teams that support GSMO and what we do on base, but none of that is possible without what Bryce's team's doing. You can't support anything unless you got an active circuit out there, unless you got a customer that says, hey, I need to buy this circuit and I need this equipment on it and so on. So I say this because I want you to fully understand what we do on Scott Air Force Base, how each team supports each other to give back to the DoD. Customers call, say, I need a circuit. Check, Bryce's team jumps into action. They engineer a circuit. We give it back to the customer. He said, you happy with it? Yep, we're happy. We're using it. Oh crap, something broke. Jeremy's team gets a phone call. Hey, this is broke. Can you troubleshoot? Can you fix it? Yep, we can do that. Okay, whoop, no, we can't. Hey, Tom, can your team upstairs, can you guys fix it? Tier 2, we got your back. Okay, and we can fix it, but we also have to use some of those OSS tools, those applications, those server resources to get to our tools and so on. So I just kind of want you to understand the holistic picture of what we do and how your degree plans kind of fall in suit in one of those four, demographics, if you will. Okay, just a quick recap, because I know it's a lot of stuff really fast, and if you've never heard of GSMO before, if you don't understand what the DoD does, I get it, it's tough. I've been there for 5 years, and I still don't understand everything. Okay. Everybody good? Do we need to do some push-ups? No? High fives? Stretch? You guys good? What time is it?
1:35.
1:35. Okay, I got plenty of time, man. We're gonna have you out of here on time, man. You're very good at A. Gives you plenty of time to study. Professional development. So the team over here, we talked about what GSMO does. Okay, I talked from a high level, Leidos, who we are, yada yada, all that good stuff. Jeremy and Bryce talked about specifically what we do and how maybe it piques some interest. Okay, hey, I'd really like to work there. What I'm really here for today is to professionalize you the best I can. And why am I doing this? I've been coming here for a couple of years doing job fairs and so on. I came to a job fair last year, and 2 years ago I came to a job fair, and quite honestly, I was like, can't believe I witnessed that. It was pretty bad, okay? It was pretty bad to the fact that we had kids coming up to the table. Hey, you got a resume? They're like reaching into their pocket. They were, guys, I'm not making this up. They were saying, yeah, here's my resume. Okay, or they were going into their backpack and papers were falling out all over the place. Papers from like other booths were falling out while they're talking to the Leidos booth. Their dress maybe could have been a little more professional and so on. Okay, not students' faults. Okay, or maybe it is a student's fault, but it's just awareness, that's all. And I'm not putting blame on anybody, but I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of share some things that I learned through my military career, some of the things I've learned as a hiring manager, and I just want to prepare you guys to be as successful as you can. So, take this with a grain of salt, take some notes, do whatever you want, okay? Just play along with me for the next 45 minutes as I try to get through some of these slides. When's the job fair?
16.
Okay, who's going? Okay, this is in preparation for your job fair. This is in preparation for you getting an interview. This is in preparation for you, dressing for the interview. Once you get the job, the hard part's over, right? You just gotta get the job. You gotta get the look to get the job. Okay. Who wants to argue with me that your resume is not the most important piece of paper in this entire process? Anybody want to argue? Anybody want to fight? So you all agree that your resume is the most important piece in this entire hiring process, right?
Yes.
Why?
It gives you an opportunity to brag about yourself and let the company that you're applying for know a little bit about you and your background and what you specialize in. It's basically just about you, why you're qualified to work there.
Absolutely. It provides you an opportunity to make me interested in you. Does the resume get you the job? What does the resume do? You said it.
It gets you the interview.
It gets you the look. Okay? Bam. Don't let this hit you in the head. I don't want to hurt you. There, you get a pair of Leidos socks. Okay, that's all I have to offer, guys. I'm sorry. Leidos socks. So the resume is critical, okay? You give me a resume that's polished, you give me a resume that meets the criteria, it's gonna get looked at. You give me a resume that's written in crayon with creased corners and spilled SpaghettiOs on it, what do you think I'm gonna do with the resume? Guys, it's not getting a look. I promise you. This is cutthroat business out there. Think about this. St. Louis, Ranken University, SLU, WashU, Edwardsville, McKendree, you're surrounded by universities. What makes your resume, what makes your cyber track, what you're learning, any different than all these other colleges and any students? Okay? It's very competitive, so you have to put your best foot forward to be successful to get the look. So just some tips in there. Invest the time now. So who here has a resume that they say, oh, I can submit right now, and I'm pretty confident about it? Okay? You've just got a normal resume that you apply for every job? You got one resume that you apply for every job?
Yeah.
So you don't look at the job rec and then change your resume to match the job rec?
Not at the moment, no.
Do you?
Yeah, I changed certain things, but
Okay, why do we do that?
tailor it to the job.
Tailor to the job. Why do we tailor it to the job? Yes.
To show that we know what we're talking about within their field.
Correct. Okay, yes,
It also show that we did like a little research on their company.
correct. Correct.
Just so you can make sure that your skills is caters to the job that you're trying to
Absolutely.
apply for.
When's the last time you guys looked at a, when I say guys, I'm sorry, I should say, ladies and gentlemen, when was the last time anybody's looked at a rec recently? Did anybody look at a rec recently? An ad? Okay, there are key words littered all through this. I'm looking for a manager. I am looking for somebody with software experience. I am looking for somebody with network engineering, cybersecurity. And I'm looking for somebody that can flip 20 hamburgers in 5 seconds. I'm making stuff up, but they are telling you exactly what they want. And if you're not capitalizing on these keywords and copying and pasting into your resume and changing your accomplishments to reflect leadership positions, software, everything you're saying, you guys missed an opportunity. Who thinks that they don't run resumes through a scanner? That's a good question. They do. They're running them through scanners. These scanners are picking up keywords. These scanners are eliminating a lot of resumes before they even reach the eyes of a recruiter. Yes.
Is that why they want you to send it in PDF if it's online?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll say sure, but I really don't know. I'm sorry. But I guarantee you they are running, Leidos does it. So if Leidos is doing it, I know other companies are doing the same thing. So again, tailor your resume to the job rec, and you're gonna have a higher percentage of getting the look. Validate your skills with achievements. It's one thing just to say, hey, this is what I did, but it means more, it carries more merit when you say what the impact was of what you did. Okay, yeah, I know Pick a software. Okay, well, how have you used Pick a software? How have you deployed it on your network? What results of that have you seen? I want to see impact. I want to see how you're doing something. So you have to validate your accomplishments. All right, be honest, because when you get the interview and you say you've got really, a lot of experience in something that you said, and then somebody asks you a technical question, because in IT, you're probably going to have technical interviews, you're going to get called out quickly, and then it's going to be a little awkward to recover. If you're applying for a software engineering position and you say, I've got 15 years of Python experience, and somebody says, well, explain to me a Python code, yada, yada, and you're like, come on, man, they just got you. So be honest. Brevity, be short. You guys will, ladies and gentlemen, you will not have a 3-page resume at your earliness in life and your careers. You should not, okay? At the most, you guys are probably 2 pages, and that's pushing it. And why? You don't want to read it, okay? it's too much information. You probably don't have that much information, and then it's probably just all fluff work. I don't want fluff, I want the meat and potatoes. Okay, let me know what I need to know, so I can say, yeah, I want to talk to this individual. Okay? All right, list anything that separates you guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is important. Like I said, surrounding area, all these universities, all in the same, degree tracks, so on, applying to the same jobs. Why am I picking you over you? You have to show me something. If you were ever a Cub Scout or a Girl Scout, if you were the team lead at Burger King, if you worked at a Dollar General and you were the shift lead, or you were promoted to head register person, something, show me that you've done something better than everybody else. Okay, you're in class, if you've got the 4.0 GPA, I'd probably list it, you've got a 4.0 GPA. It's a discriminator, it's a separator from everybody else. Do you have a leadership role? Are you part of a professional organization in school? Do you hold a, executive council position in this professional organization? Tell me, give me something that separates from you guys, because if not, same track, same year school, you guys both work at McDonald's. You're not telling me nothing. Okay, so distinguish yourself. Make yourself the most important person. Make it where I absolutely have to meet with you because I've got to learn more. All right. How did your work contribute to the success of the company? It's one thing to talk about your accomplishments, okay, but how did that benefit the company? Because I've got to be able to understand what you did and how it benefited the company, so I can see how you're going to fit into my company and how you're going to benefit me and my company. Okay. Professional email address. I told this to the last class. I'll talk very quickly about it. While I was in the military, I was fixing to retire. I'm on the telephone call with my boss in the truck, and I provided my email address to the individual on the phone. Hung up the phone. My boss says, "What was that?" I said, "Well, that's my email address." And it's a silly email address. It's an email address I've had for many years. Okay, but it's dumb. It's silly. And he goes, "Please tell me you're not putting that in your resume." I'm like, "Oh yeah." And he, backhanded me. Okay. And he goes, "Tom, you have to have a professional email address." And he goes, "Do you realize how dumb it sounds when you say your email address?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." So fast forward, now I'm in the position I am. I get a resume from a kid 2 years ago. And the email address is thatboycam and something. It's his email address, whatever. But I'm thinking, that's silly. Okay, it's not professional. I understand it's an email address. You've had it since you were 2. I get it. I'm asking you to find a professional email address. They're free. Okay, they're free. My professional one now is simply thomas.spransky@gmail. A little bit more professional. I use that for all professional correspondence going forward. I use my silly one for miscellaneous stuff. It's free. I highly encourage you. So, at the job fair next month, what day?
March 16th.
Okay, when you're providing resumes to what table? Leidos. I hope to see some professional email addresses. And everybody's got a phone. Everybody's got a phone that can support multiple email accounts. So you can't say, "Oh, I can't manage it." Yeah, you can. If I can manage it, you guys can manage it. Okay. Any questions on this? Resumes are important. Resumes give you the look. They don't get you the job, they give you the look. You need the look before you can sit at the big table. Yes?
How would you recommend those of us that don't have any certifications or actual IT experience to distinguish ourselves on our resumes?
Okay, great question. Let me answer the certifications first. Not everybody, because it depends on your track, but certain tracks in here are going to go through like a CCNA or a Sec Plus certification. If you are in one of those tracks, I highly recommend CCNA, Sec Plus, anticipated March 24th. Let me know that you're going for it, okay? Now, it might eliminate you from consideration. It might, okay? But it also says to me, oh, he's aware of it. He knows it's a requirement. They're working towards it. Oh, I see he graduates next year, so he's probably going to get it upon graduation. And then you ask, how do you separate yourself from like a lack of IT experience, I mean, that's tough. You're a first-year student, correct?
I'm actually on my last semester.
You're in your last semester. You've had a year and a half of schooling curriculum. You've got everything that they've been teaching you for all this time. You have to be able to articulate that in a resume. I have taken XYZ. I've demonstrated XYZ in class. I've built out, I've done something. You've done something IT related, but more importantly than curriculum work, what have you done at home? What self-learning have you done at home? What initiative have you taken at home? What track are you in?
Network.
You're in the networking track. So what have you done from home to know about protecting networks or routers or configurations or anything like that? Use that in your resume. That goes a long way. I understand you got curriculum work, true. So does everybody else, right? But your distinguisher is what you've done above and beyond, how you've used it. What have you done in the class? Has your instructor recognized you for anything? Are you leading the class? Are you leading the class in GPA? There's things you've got to search for. And you know what? If that doesn't help answer your question, you've got your career counselors here, right? You got your career center, hit them up. And can challenge you to hit them up. Yes.
At Ranken, we have to take, one of the semesters, we have to take a work ethic course and they give you like a certificate at the end. Do you think that's worth like putting on your resume or like as a certificate?
Does it hurt?
No.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt to say that you have an ethical understanding that you've been ethicized? Okay, it doesn't hurt. Anything to help you. Now, you're 30 years into your career. You've taken over my job. You're giving these briefings. Taking an ethics class, is that really applicable 30 years from now? Okay, probably not. In your early stages of your career, anything that you can put on there, okay? Let me decide if it's silly or not. Right?
I would throw out there that it probably would, if you had that on there, it'd probably make me probably wonder, okay, what is this? Probably should ask them when I do an interview.
Right? I can tell you, I don't recall the last time somebody's put, hey, I take an ethical training. One of the things about Leidos is we are a highly regarded ethical company. That's why we win so many awards that I'm gonna get into. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of our instructors are students who are rising above and go up beyond. They've asked these students to put in to be a tutor.
Yep.
And that's huge for on campus.
Absolutely. Why is that huge to be identified as a tutor when you're applying to a resume, when you're doing your resume? At least why?
You understand the subject well enough to teach others?
Pretty simple. My instructors instill a level of trust in me to carry on the class, maybe in their absence or whatever. I'm a tutor, I can be called a mentor. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can phrase that, but that is a level of responsibility that they're instilling in you. You've got to capitalize on that.
And we pay.
Oh, come on. I would leave the paid part off. I would leave it as I voluntarily tutor based on the recommendations from my instructors, and I would phrase it that way. We good here? Everybody understands the value? Okay, the resume gets you the job, right? Trick question. Good job. Everybody gets their socks. Okay. Who knows what a cover letter is? Okay, if you don't know what a cover letter is, it's exactly what it is. It's a piece of paper that goes on top of the resume when you submit it. This cover letter is just an attention getter. Take a second, look at this. Tell me something that jumps out at you. Yes.
They were a lead programmer for a robotics student.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
A list of accomplishments down in the middle.
Accomplishments, right on. Anybody else? Yes.
It mentions the company by name.
What else? So in a nutshell, what happened is is this young man took the time to sit down and write a letter, address it to Leidos. This thing got a pointer on it. I don't want to shut it off.
No, but if you put it really close to the.
Oh, there we go. This guy took the time, network operations intern summer 22. He took that verbatim off of the rec. So I know he read the rec. Okay, that's important to me. Took the time to write me a letter, highlighted the position, and it is my aspiration to work with some of the most driven minds in network security to protect my country. That is like some of Leidos' core values. So he read through our pamphlet, if you will, and he's like, oh, okay. And then he captured my attention, okay? Stroked my ego, captured my attention, said the right words, whatever, okay? But he got my attention. That's all I'm asking you to do. And then, yeah, here's some additional stuff I've done. And since it's not a resume, he's got like a little bit more room to expand a little bit. You know, he's not constricted to just, 1 or 2 page resume. So this is perfect. So some of this stuff he's got in his resume, but he went into depth and he started showing me his level of responsibilities and so on. So, and then again, he's talking all the stuff that is on this rec verbatim. I'm telling you. So I was really proud of this young man. And to follow that up, not only was this good, he drops his resume, which is a pretty darn good resume. All right. Everybody's got different opinions on resumes. You ask 10 people, hey, look at my resume, you're going to get 15 different replies. At the end of the day, it's your resume. You have to decide what you like the best. Okay, but this is a okay format. I say it's okay because he's got his education. Great. I want to know. Extracurricular activity. He's involved in the school. He's just not showing up and doing his course load. He's involved with extra stuff, okay? He's a team player. That's what that tells me, okay? Over here, he's showing me, hey, man, this is all the stuff I'm learning. And of course, all this stuff matches up to what I'm looking for. So a very good resume coupled with an attention-getting cover letter. Did we hire him? Yeah. Did he work out great? Better than expected. Okay, and we hired him because he interviewed well, but he got the interview because of, here we go. Okay. Did we hire this guy? Why?
Land resume.
Yeah. I mean, what else? What jumps out at you? What says, pick me, pick me? Yes, sir.
He gives just a lot of bland bullet points, and instead of actually going in depth about it, it's just
right. It's bland. There's no meat to it. There's no accomplishments. Okay. Papa Vito's pizza. Man, I love Papa Vito's pizza. Oh, Papa Vito's. But you know what? What did you do at Papa Vito's? He doesn't even tell me if he was a cook, a server, a register. He doesn't tell me if he was a team lead. He doesn't tell me nothing. It just says, man, I had a job. Okay, well, great. Same as sports. Okay, sports authority cashier. Okay, good. Rural king. Well, he lost opportunities to talk about accomplishments. I'm glad that you had jobs. That's great. What'd you do? Okay, he lost an opportunity to brag about himself. Okay, this up here. Okay, I'm good. I'm good with this, but pretty much everything else, all these computer skills. Give me examples. Tell me what you did. Okay, so this did not meet the mark of me reaching out and calling him. There was nothing on here that was like, man, I really want to know more. Okay, and again, 20,000 resumes. Why am I going to spend time on this? Okay, now you go from your age group to, this is not my resume, but my age group, and you can see over many, many years of experience and so on. This is what we aspire to have on a resume. Only at this point in time do we maybe go to a 3-page resume, maybe, okay? But this guy, he's got some experience, okay? His resume is thoughtfully put out. he's got his important stuff up here, you know, he's got his certification, he's got his education up here, he's got a security clearance. I mean, so far, this guy's hitting a home run. He's hitting everything that I could possibly want. And then we get down into the meat. If you look at these bullets, he's kind of telling you what he did and the accomplishments that followed, right? The impact. This is what it should look like. Okay, I don't expect yours to look like this today. Okay, I get it. In time, this is what it's gonna look like. Okay, any questions on this? Yes.
I was looking at the education part of it. What in particular, I noticed is there a certain order to how he ordered his education? Because it looks like he went from like administrator to clearance. I didn't know if that was on purpose.
So, kind of like I said, you asked 10 people about how the resume should look, you get 15 different replies. To my knowledge, Jeremy, correct me, there's no right way. Yeah, if I were to reach out to our recruiter at our company, she would probably have a preference of what she likes, but that's a preference. They're so subjective. There's not one, because if there was only one, you'd only be able to download one. That's why there's 1,000 of them out there. You gotta find one that works for you. I don't particularly have any issues with how he's got it, as long as he has it. As long as I can see it. Now, if he would have had like his certification and his clearance buried on the bottom of the 3rd page, I might not have gotten that far, because you know what? My requirement is a certification and clearance. So why am I gonna waste my time if that doesn't jump out at me? Yeah, we got time. I got a lot to go through. Okay, good question though.
I think if I had to add something to the top for that education piece, you can see he went from his master's degree to his bachelor's degree kind of in order.
Yeah.
The certification's in the middle of there, so PMP is a certification, and then he's just identifying a clearance. So I think if I was reading it in the master's degree was there, and then the security clearance, and then PMP, and then a bachelor's degree, it would kind of be awkward for me reading it.
Backwards.
But again, it's just out of order, just like he randomly threw things in there, but it looks like it's systematic. Master's, bachelor's, again, an associate's degree probably would be there, right? He just.
Yeah, but, you know, if we're gonna speculate, you know, you put your duty assignments, you know, in newest to oldest, and that's, again, it's speculation.
Yeah, I would look at it and say 2012 to present, but then at the top 2018 to present. So which one is he actually doing right now? Both of them at the same time, or?
Right.
Or is that 2012 to 2018 and then 2018 to present? Just things to think about. I mean, nothing critical there, but.
Yeah. So don't get too hung up on how we, speaking of resumes, we had this discussion last class. Who thinks it's appropriate to have, like, I think they call it like 100-pound cardstock and fluorescent colors with images and all that stuff on it on an IT resume? Anybody think that's acceptable? Okay. I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's not, but let me tell you what I'm thinking. You give me a resume that is thicker than a normal sheet of paper, and then I try to run it through my scanner so I can send it out to my hiring managers, and the scanner jams. What do you think I'm gonna do with your resume? Guys, I don't have the time to now, you know, lift up the lid. Okay, I gotta scan this one individually. I'm not doing it. Unless you're a purple unicorn and your resume is a stud, I'm probably not gonna do it. Now, let's talk about all the colors and the distractions. Raise your hand if you're a graphic artist, art major. Okay, if you're applying for an art position or a graphics position, sure, be creative, because that's the line of work. You're applying for an IT position. Folks, a white and black resume is fine. You want to use maybe some different colored fonts, that's fine, but if you've got Skittles and unicorns and you're trying to show off your artsy side, I would highly recommend that you save that for another day. Okay, black and white, keep it simple, focus on the important stuff, and make sure I can run your resume through a scanner. Some of this cardstock is stiff. Some of this cardstock, I mean, it won't even flex. Okay? Nasty job fair. Guys, These should be fun. These really, truly should be fun. There's just social engagements. There's no commitment. You're probably not gonna have an interview on the spot. So all this is walking up to a vendor, making eye contact, shaking hands, passing out a resume, and just having a conversation. That is at no commitment whatsoever. We're not gonna hug. We're not gonna go out for drinks later, nothing. These should be fun. Okay, this is an opportunity for you to practice selling yourself. Okay? You will probably never see these people ever again, so you've got nothing to lose, is what I'm saying. Yes, sir.
In terms of dress code and these things, would you say it's acceptable to wear like a Ranken uniform?
We're gonna talk about that. Yep, great question. But yes, there is a dress code, absolutely. Okay, have plenty of updated resumes. We already talked about, you know, the kids pulling out the resumes like this. Is that professional? If somebody gave you a wrinkled up resume, would you take them seriously? Probably not. So if you've got an opportunity to make a first impression, that first impression should probably be opening up a folder and pulling out a clean sheet of paper. Okay, that's professional. Opening up your backpack, taking a folder out. Not opening up your backpack, throwing it up on the table, and then rifling through a bunch of documents, you know, rifling through some propaganda from another table, you know, the Boeing table, and putting it on my Leidos table. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not professional. It's not your best foot forward, is what I'm trying to say. Have your resume ready. How many resumes are you bringing?
More than enough.
Can't answer it better. More than enough. If you go home with resumes, fine. If you go home with no resumes and you ran out, who got hurt?
Yourself.
Right. Why do that to yourself? Print it out at school, right? Can you? Their paper?
Yes, sir.
Did you pay for it? Kind of, right? Okay. Plenty of resumes. And are they gonna be updated?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, on this job fair, you all know who's showing up, correct? You all know the vendors? Because they publicize it, correct? Okay, so if I know most are first year, but for the folks really hunting for a job, is it not beneficial to start looking at the tables that are gonna be represented, going out to their websites, start looking at some of their information, maybe you start looking at some of their recs that they have, and start looking for those key words they're looking for. So when you go to that table and you pull out your resume that's got a cover letter on it that says, "Dear Leidos, I am applying for XYZ position," because I've seen it online, "your core values align to my beliefs." Take it from there. Okay? Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit extra time. You might miss a party or two. But this is your careers you're talking about, so you're in control of this, okay? Or you could just go to each table and give the same resume, which works fine too. You have a higher percentage of getting the call if you customize it a little bit, but that requires work. Okay, yes?
I have a question about that. So would you say it's okay to like go on the company website and apply for the job before the job fair and say, hey, I applied for this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you not?
Right.
Any chance you can to get ahead, get ahead. So again, you come to Leidos on 16 March and you say, hey, Tom, Jeremy, Bryce, hey man, thanks for coming out here, really appreciate it. Took your advice, I went up to leidos.com/careers. I found this position on Jeremy's team. I applied for it. My number is XYZ, but here's an updated resume, just in case maybe it didn't reach you yet.
Right.
That tells me that you've done the legwork, okay? You know what happens to your resume if you tell me all that? I'm just saying, you'll notice that at the job fair, we're gonna have pins, and we're always writing on resumes. Sometimes we write on that resume, don't bother. Guys,
His Crocs were broken when he came to the.
right, his hoodie was ripped. Okay, or it's gonna be, this individual already has a security clearance. This individual already has a Sec Plus. This individual's already worked in the industry. This individual's got something. And then when I scan those back in, because you got it on a normal sheet of paper that goes through my scanner, and I send it out to the hiring managers, it's got all those notes on it. And they're gonna look at the note before they even read it. And they're like, oh, that's gonna capture their attention.
You know, just to throw something out, just for you, right, you didn't have all these wild things that were there that set you aside or something, right? Some of the notes that I put on the last one, just the motivation that I heard from them when I was talking to them at the table. Like very energetic,
Passionate.
eager to learn, interested in this. Those are the things too that we get from you when you come to the thing.
Right.
We can teach you all anything. We've got hundreds of years of technical experience on our team. We can teach you anything. There are certain things we can't teach, and those are, a lot of the soft skills. So being passionate about something, leaning forward and doing some homework and putting that in front of us. Those are things that you all can do on your own, okay? So if you don't have the technical aptitude, okay, we can teach you technical aptitude, but you just got to give us something that makes us want to gamble on you. That's all it is. Okay, and then also, not up here, but I get asked all the time, Tom, I want to apply to this internal Leidos job, but the requirements, I don't have all the requirements. Do you apply or do you not apply? What do?
You apply.
Why?
You have nothing to lose.
You got nothing to lose. Why would you not apply because you think you're not qualified? I mean, seriously, guys, you just eliminated yourself from any possibility of getting that job because you were unsure of yourself. Apply. Get the interview. Okay? But if you don't apply, well, your chances of success just drop to 0. Okay, first impressions are everything. So I think you all read this by now, but I want to focus on this. During the job fairs, bet you $1 gazillion. When you walk up to me, I'm looking at all this stuff. How are you dressed? Okay, we're going to talk about that right now. How do you think you should be dressed for a job fair?
You already had a professional.
Well, professional's, subjective too. Are you going to show up in a 3-piece suit for a job fair?
Good.
You could. Would that be memorable for me? Probably. Overkill? Okay, probably so. But how are we going to dress for a job fair? What's another way? Do you think how I look today is appropriate for a job fair?
Yeah.
You don't think so? Okay.
If you're coming to the Leidos table, it would probably be.
No, really, give your thoughts. Let's walk through this.
Button down shirt.
Button down shirt would be nice, yeah. You think my pants and my shoes are okay?
Well, I feel like, by wearing a Ranken uniform, like we're required to wear this every day. So like, if you do wear something a little nicer, it shows that you're going above and beyond and that you actually care.
During job fairs, you're allowed to, right? You're allowed to get dressed up. Okay, I thought so, because I've seen the gamut. I've seen the jackets, the ties, and I've seen the Ranken hoodies. I've seen it. Okay, I don't think a 3-piece suit is preferred. Okay, I'm not gonna talk bad about you if you do wear a 3-piece suit. Okay, I think a tie, I think a button-up shirt is spot on. If you showed up kind of like dressed like I am today, decent pair of shoes, some slacks, a belt, your shirt tucked in, hair combed and so on. I'm like, all right, he's a student, I get it. Okay, be as professional as you can. When in doubt, dress up. Never down. You've got one opportunity to make that impression, right? 3-piece suit. Well, you're gonna make an impression, all right. I'm gonna like it, but I'd rather see that than your ripped up hoodie. And I'd rather see a 3-piece suit and then instead of this for your resume too. Okay? Best foot forward. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Again, it's for an hour. You can't wear a suit for an hour or a tie or a button-up shirt. You might want to change professions. Okay, how to introduce yourself, confident, look me in the eye, carry on a conversation, all the, your body language, all this is important to me. Okay, if I understand some of you guys might be shy and you might be the head down kind of person, you might not like the contact, I get it, but I'm asking you to just step up the best that you can and make that impression, make me remember you. So I'm gonna be like, dress sharp, got a resume, I'm making notes. That goes to Jeremy and the team with my notes on it. Of course, Jeremy's gonna be there making notes too, okay? Are they respectful? I can't talk enough about being respectful. You know, we don't owe you anything when you come to our job booth or our table. We don't owe you anything, okay? But mutual respect goes a long way, and it's memorable too. And that's just a life thing. That's not just a job fair thing. Okay, any questions on the job fair coming up? Like kind of what to do, what to wear? I hope the clothing thing didn't confuse anybody. Okay, I really hope not. Resumes, all that good stuff. Being prepared to talk to the different tables. I don't want you coming just to Leidos. That's not my message. I want you to hit them all. I want you to hit all the ones that you're interested in. But do the research. Okay? Don't disqualify yourself by not dropping resumes off. Yes, sir.
Using honorifics like sir and ma'am, being like overkill or anything like that, or that
Being called sir has never really hurt my feelings. Absolutely not. But if I introduce myself as Tom, calling me Tom is perfectly acceptable too.
Okay.
Yeah. Dress it for success. Know your industry and match your outfit. Who can answer that? Who can define, like, explain what I'm talking about? Sir?
So say you're applying to a construction company, you're not gonna show up in a suit.
What do you mean? Got it. Okay, I was kind of picking on the automotive and the plumbers earlier. Not picking on the great trades, but for a job, they're probably not showing up in a suit because the interviewer is probably not wearing a suit. He's probably wearing his, I said earlier this morning, a cool flannel shirt with a calculator, some glasses in his pocket and a pencil, okay? Match the jobs you're going for. IT, I feel, is a professional industry where suits and ties are more appropriate than automotive, plumbing, and construction, and so on. Okay, so, or something you feel confident in, that is totally in your control. As I said this morning, if you're going there to address to the job fair interview or whatever, and you're wearing a button-up shirt that is 3 sizes too small for you, and you're worried about that middle button popping off and hitting the interviewer in the face, why would you wear that shirt? The chances are that, you're gonna get the interview a couple days in advance, which gives you plenty of time to go out and get something that fits, get something that you feel comfortable in. You have to feel confident so you can focus on the interview, okay? Do not show up wearing something that's loud and obnoxious, because the last thing you want is them remembering you because you wore something loud and obnoxious and not remembering your answers. Okay, the focus is on you, not what you wore. Okay? Have 2 outfits ready. So you go to the first interview, okay? If everything goes well, you're probably gonna come back for a second one. Okay, I know interviews are done over the phones a lot, but we're kind of moving away. We're going back into the office. Have another outfit ready. I am not telling you to go spend a crap ton of money on clothes. Go talk to dad, uncle, grandpa. Get a tie, get a jacket, find some pants. If you don't have any family or friends that have something, go to a secondhand store. Get a jacket. Okay? It doesn't have to be a $300 coat. It can be a $40 Walmart jacket. Return it afterwards. I don't care. Okay, just dress the part and don't go broke doing it. Okay. All right. Again, we talked about this. When in doubt, dress up, not down. Your personal appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, I shouldn't smell you. I shouldn't smell you because you've got too much on, and I shouldn't smell you because you haven't put enough on. Okay, so all your hygiene standards play here. Okay, I want to remember you for how the interview went, not for how you looked, smelled, or anything like that. Okay, you're in complete control of this. Nobody else. Okay, who thinks shoes are just as important as the outfit? Why? Why are shoes important? Maybe it's just a Tom thing, but why are shoes important?
It's the first thing you look at.
One of the first things, absolutely. But before that, shoes are designed to get dirty, right? You're in them all day long. So if you show up in your 3-piece suit and you've got some mud all over your shoes, what does that tell me as the interviewer? You don't care. You don't take pride in like stuff that's supposed to get dirty. You didn't put your best foot forward. How difficult is it to get a rag and just clean your shoes off, guys? That's it. I understand. You come in from the rain, coming from the snow. Yeah, maybe you got time to go to the restroom and clean them up a little bit. Yeah, they might not be all shiny and everything, but shoes are just as important as your outfits. So take the time. Pictures say everything. Gentlemen, on the left-hand side, this for an interview is probably how you should be dressing for an interview, okay? Your resume's spot on, you get the call, you get the interview. This is how we should be looking, okay? Suit, you got a jacket, you got a tie, you got a button-up shirt, you got shoes on, you got a belt. Does the belt match the pants or the shoes? Shoes. Belts match shoes. Okay? Just a gee whiz thing out there. All right? So this gentleman looks pretty good. Neutral colors. Okay? He's not wearing a blazer that's got 18 different, colors on it. It's nothing is distracting from him. Ladies, this right here, this is very similar to what you should be wearing for an interview. Okay? Ladies, when you go for an interview, modesty, practice modesty. The last thing you want is the interview panel to remember you by what you wore, maybe your blouse or anything. That's not how you want to get hired onto a job. You want to get hired onto the job for your merit, not how you were dressed. So I ask that we dress modestly, okay? After we get the job and then you're in the workplace environment, then we get the transition a little bit. Now you got the job, okay? So this is casual wear for us. Yeah, we cut out and wear jeans and stuff, but for the most part, this is what we wear everyday work. Okay, so we're not wearing ties every day. Matter of fact, we don't wear ties when we do these kinds of things. That's not what I want to portray to you. That's not the company that we are. All right, we don't get paid enough to wear ties every day. Okay, any questions on how we're supposed to dress? We're tracking. Yes.
What about hairstyles for women?
I'm sorry?
Like, what about like the different hairstyles for women?
Different hairstyles? Let me see. How am I gonna answer that? I think natural, perhaps, like if you showed up with your hair looking like that, I think that would be totally acceptable. I think if you showed up with 8 colors of different hair, that might be a little distraction for me. Okay? I don't know if I answered that question or not.
And yeah, I'm just like saying, like, I know like, well, it's a little more professional, like maybe split back or like hair out your face.
Yeah, I would definitely think, hair out of your face. If you're comfortable in a ponytail, if you're comfortable up, whatever you're comfortable in, I think that the message I'm trying to convey is don't let it just be a distraction. That's all. If you go to the interview and your hair is down that day and you're constantly like trying to get it out of your face, well, that could be a distraction. Okay, so have it set, have it the way you like it, be confident in it, and then go execute the interview. So I don't have the hair problem. So what you see is what you get. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, getting ready for the interview. Here we go. Know the company you're interviewing with. Do your homework, make notes. We've already talked about this stuff. So you've got the call. You're going in, you're sitting down with Jeremy. Put your best foot forward. Expect what he's gonna ask. Know what your answers are. Know your resume inside and out. He asks you a question about accomplishment you put on, your application, because he's got your resume, he's looking at it. Don't pull your resume out and like, hang on, Jeremy, I gotta unfold it first. And then I gotta look at it. What line was that? You gotta know your resume. And it's easy right now because you all are, 1-page-ish resumes. So know your resume inside and out, okay? Tell me about yourself. I think that's a trick, okay? Here's why. In my experience, and when I ask a question, I am asking you to tell me about yourself because I want to see how you carry a conversation. Yeah, I'm interested in you. no doubt, but I want to see how you communicate with me. I want to see you're looking me in the eye. Are you looking the panel in the eye? How's your body language? How's your posture? Okay? Are you able to communicate with me? If I ask you a question, are you able to answer it back? Do you talk down? Do you talk too fast? Do you talk too slow? Can you talk? Because if you can't communicate, we're gonna have a problem. See, I got your resume, but that was all written. Now that's why we do the interviews, because I want to see how you act face to face. Okay, so tell me about yourself is more of a kind of a test. Yes.
So whenever you ask the tell us about yourself question, should that be more of like a technical or a personal?
I think it's a combination of both. Jeremy, what do you think? Do you think, for you, when you say, tell me about yourself, do you think you want them going back to high school and?
So here's, first thing I was gonna say before you asked that question was use brevity too. So when we say tell you about ourselves and you say, okay, when I was 8, I started here and then I was 10. I don't have 2 hours for you to go through that whole thing. What we do actually on our interviews is say, tell me something that's not on your resume.
Correct. Tell me that something that stands out.
Then it's like, hey, what hobbies do you have? What is something that you do in your life now? What is, tell me something that if I'm looking at your resume, I'm not seeing. It doesn't have to be real elaborate. Maybe I'll use gaming because a lot of the people in networking, right? What do you like to do? Oh, I like the game. Wow, shocker. I mean, that's just something that they do because, and really, it kind of fits in with that job specialty, right?
So going with that, yeah, you're a gamer, you're all gamers, but hey, did you know I developed a game that PlayStation is buying the rights to? Oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so give us something. Okay. 5 minutes, make the first impression. I think everybody clearly understands that you've got a limited bit of time. Within 5-10 minutes, I pretty much know if we're gonna hire you or not. Okay, I already got your resume. I already know your accomplishments. And probably within 10 minutes, I can quickly assess, okay, is this somebody we're gonna take a chance on? We're gonna invest in this person. Okay? Firm handshakes, all that good stuff, body language, don't fidget, just gotta breathe. I still get nervous doing interviews. It's just how it is. Because you don't know the questions. You can't see into the future. That makes me nervous. I get it. You just gotta breathe, you just gotta relax. When they ask you a 3-part question and you're still trying to figure out the first part, it is okay to say, I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question? It's okay. What's not okay is if they ask you a 3-part question, you misinterpret the first part, and then you spend 20 minutes talking about something that they didn't even ask you, and then you miss the 2 other parts. That's not okay. And what's further not okay is when you don't follow up and say, hey, did I answer your question, thoroughly? Because now you're just like, oh. They're like, well, what's this guy doing here? Okay, if you don't understand the question, ask them to repeat the question. Okay, at the end of it, if you have any doubt that you didn't fully explain yourself, did I answer your question thoroughly? They'll tell you. Okay, and if they say no, can you give another example? Give another example. It's real simple. It's just easy communication. That's all. You got to know what makes you valuable to them. You've got to sell yourself. You've got to make it where I absolutely cannot let you walk out that door. Because if you walk out that door, our company's going to lose millions of dollars. I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, Z because on your resume and verbally, you told me that you can do X, Y, Z. So you've got to tell me that. You got to sell it. You got to sell yourself. Okay? Anticipate questions. We kind of talked about that. Here we go. Star format. Does anybody know what the star format is? Okay. If somebody asks you a question, please tell me a time where you did something. The star format is the situation. Oh my gosh, I about lost it. The situation, the task, the action, and the result. So, what was the task? What did you have to do? Okay. I had an issue at work where this software was not functioning correctly. Okay, well, what did you do to fix it? Okay, I troubleshot it, I did yada yada, I did some really cool things. You're gonna elaborate a little bit more. Okay, well, what was the impact? Well, after I spent the time to troubleshoot and got it running, it started producing the reports necessary where we could pull the, the analytics out of it, and then we fixed X, Y, Z. You thoroughly answered that question, and you left no doubt about what you did, how you did it, and what the impact was. That's what we need to know. Okay, tell me about a time where you fixed something. Yeah, this software was broke, and yeah, man, I just restarted the computer and it worked. Wow, you're hired. No, it doesn't work like that, okay? Come on, see, this is where you've got to sell yourself a little bit, okay? Because I don't know what you did. All right, star format, it's a real thing, Google it, okay, you're gonna find it, I'm not making it up, I promise you, okay? We use it, we seriously use it in our interviews. When we do internal interviews for our team that people are trying to promote up, we tell them, we want star answers. We're giving them the key. Okay, are we good on interview prep? Any questions, things you want to know more about? Got a resume? You hit a home run with a resume because you got the interview. You know what to wear to the interview. You kind of know what to wear to the job fair, so on. You're getting ready for the interview. This is all the stuff that you've got to do. And then once you're in there, it's you. You just got to be confident. You got to be confident in how you look, your clothes, your aptitude, you got to know your resume. And then it's breathe. It's answer the questions you best you can. And probably when you think you did a terrible job, you probably didn't do that bad of a job. Okay? Yes, sir.
So what do you suggest, for those moments leading up into the interview, as in where you deal with nervousness, maybe you have anxiety, maybe it's have some type of tick that maybe you deal with while you're in the interview, say you're bouncing your leg or you have some type
During the interview? Yes. Yeah, okay. Leading up to the interview might help with that. So leading up to the interview, I'm going through my resume again. I'm making sure my clothes are ready. I'm making sure my shoes are polished. I am making sure everything in my control is set. I know the location of the interview. I know the time. I've got alarms set. I've got everything. And why do I do that? You said anxiety. I got crazy anxiety. I worry about this stuff. I really do, okay? So if I did all of my work before the interview and I'm at the interview early and I get inside early and I go to the men's room and I do another, I comb my hair, I make sure everything's good to go, that relaxes me. Now, I understand that when you get in the interview, things change a little bit, okay? But you've got to control what you can control, and that's all the prep work that we're talking about here. So the last in-person interview I had was 10 plus years ago. My last couple have just been telephone, which you do a telephone interview, okay, things are a little bit easier. You're in your jammies, you're in your basement, you're in your environment, you got your cup of coffee, you got your resume put out in front of you, you got talking notes, you got Leidos pulled up on the computer. You're set. You can't do that in an interview. So that's part of your homework to be ready to combat the anxiety. But yeah, your heart starts racing, okay? Last interview I had, no kidding, my boss's boss asked me a 3-part question. And I told him after the interview, dude, what'd you ask me a 3-part question for? That's dumb. I didn't remember the first part. I had to ask him, hey, can you please repeat the question? So yeah, they're gonna ask questions that, you don't know the answer. Sorry, you don't know the question, and that's crazy. Take your time. So what did you do? Oh yeah, I get that. Well, gee, let me finish the question, man. Think about your answer. Think about the brevity, think about the star format, and then finalize it with, did I answer your question? Okay, as far as leg shaking and stuff, if you're underneath the desk and they can't see it, okay, you're good there, but everything, chest up.
Unless you're shaking the whole desk.
Well, true, the fidgeting and all that stuff, yeah, you gotta do your best.
I'll tell you, when we're interviewing, we know people are nervous.
Sure, we know it. We've all been there.
Yeah, so, I interviewed for Mitchell's job. I was nervous. I didn't even want the job, to be honest with you, but I was going through the roles to do it. But I was nervous and I didn't even really want the job. So you're gonna, all of you, you'll have that nervousness. You just gotta control what you can control, like Tom said, and then preparation is the one thing, right? If you're prepared for the interview, you should feel confident, right? They're gonna ask you questions about the things that you already know. Tell me when you got up this morning, what did you do to come to work? Good, easy. I ate breakfast, got dressed, did my teeth, shower, whatever. You should be able to just spit that right out.
Right on. Yes.
I noticed that you have thank you cards listed on your slide. I'm just wondering what that's about.
So, has anybody ever been to a job interview and then immediately went home and wrote thank you cards and sent them? So it's kind of a question like, are they still a thing? And yes, they are still a thing. We had one of the instructors in the first class says, well, Tom, how do you feel about emails? And I really didn't even think about sending an email. It's the same level. It's perfectly, in my opinion, it's perfectly fine. Because what is it? It is the thought of taking the time and communicating, sending a personal message back to somebody and saying, hey, thank you. It's the same thing as doing a cover letter for your resume. That's all it is. But what it also does is it opens up communication. So somebody will probably reply back to you, especially on an email. You know, when you get to the interview, if there's 3 people, I think one of the slide things, the comments up there is write their names down, because you're all going in there with a notepad, right? Paper, pen, yes, okay. And you gotta write down their names and so on. And now you can Google them, you can get their email addresses, it's all readily available. But yes, take the time, email them. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate something, something, something. And also from this morning's class, if that's something you want to do, but you're not sure your verbiage is right, go to your career services. Hey, Janie, is it? Yeah. Janie, can you proofread this? Oh yeah, that sounds good. Good deal. And then they're probably going to reply. So now you just opened up that communication. So a month goes by. You're like, man, I haven't heard anything about that job. It's okay to email them. They owe you an answer. They owe you an answer. For sure. Whether it's an automated no or something, but they owe you an answer. Yeah, good question. And that's why that up there, our thank you card still the thing. What time we got?
2:35.
2:35? 2:35?
2:35.
Oh, man. I didn't get you out of here. I'm sorry.
So you,
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're stuck, man. Tess is gonna wait for you. Tess is waiting just for you.
so you kind of touched on, emailing back after so long. How long do you think it's reasonable to wait before you email and ask? How long?
Wait.
It depends on depending on the jobs, sometimes we have to wait like 2-3 weeks before we actually start, so we have the right amount of people to interview. So I wouldn't say if you send the thing today, like tonight, and tomorrow you're drafting the email and said, hey, I haven't heard anything back. You probably give it a week, I would say, probably a week or 10 days, and then follow up.
Yeah, I think what Jeremy's saying, a week, 10 days, and then their reply might be, hey, this rec doesn't close out until this date.
Yeah.
Until then, we're still taking candidates, we're doing interviews. You should expect something by this date, and then you get something more definitive.
I wouldn't wait 6 months and then email them, because they're gone. They moved on, yeah.
Okay, interview questions, you all read this, but I want you to focus on this. Top 100 common interview questions, okay? And I think this is being recorded, so I think this will be available to you later, but check that out, okay? I just Googled this the other day, and I was really, really impressed with this website and how they listed all the questions. But what's really cool about it is they give examples of how to reply. Okay, question is, well, what's your compensation look like? The wrong answer is, oh, I want to make $1 million because, I'm that good. Wrong, okay? It coaches you on the proper way to talk about compensation. It talks to you about if your GPA is not a 4.0, but it's a 3.9, and the employer says, well, why is your GPA 3.9? It coaches you on what to say, okay? It's not that you failed. Maybe you had some life obstacles that you had to combat, but hey, it's still a 3.9, and I had some stuff come in my way. Check this out. I'm telling you, I think you'll be impressed with this site. So bookmark this. One of the good things about Ranken is they grade you on a lot of these skills already. One of the reasons I love coming to Ranken, one of the reasons why we like bringing Ranken kids on is we know what we're getting. We know this. You all have a legacy of excellence, okay? This is why we like it. We can't teach you soft skills. I can teach you how to network, not me, but I can teach you how to network all day. Okay, I can teach you those things. I can't teach you how to be punctual. I can't teach you how to be respectful. I can't teach you how to communicate effectively. I can coach and guide, but those are just inherent things. And again, I know you're graded on some of these things, okay? So, and very, very important stuff going forward. You have to exhibit these. Okay, last part, I promise we can get you out of here. This is the part where we kind of jump back on Leidos and why join our team and grow with us, okay? Access opportunities, 44,000 people. We're across the globe. There is so much growth, okay, on Leidos, okay? I also said that I'm the intern manager. So we got about 14 to 19 interns every year. About 92% of them convert to full-time positions, okay? What Jeremy didn't talk about today is the 5 full-time employees that he's recently bringing on. So again, when we come here and we do these job fairs, we're not wasting our time. We're here to get resumes and qualified candidates, and then they execute and bring them on. Bryce, intern, last year, full-time, when he graduates May. I got another intern coming on for this summer. You're the talent we're looking for. All right? This is why we keep coming back here. And the lunch was pretty good too, but nonetheless, okay? Build a career with us. Again, we got 3,300 open positions across the company. There's a place for everybody. I got you, okay? You follow everything that we talked about in professional development, your chances improve greatly. All right, and you also have my business card. That's a key to the kingdom almost, if you use it. Okay, inclusive workforce. Yeah, we don't just talk a big game. We are a big game when it comes to being inclusive. Collaborations and all of our core values of what we stand for. We live them every day. And then again, we live them and we're rewarded with them for recipients like most ethical companies 5 years in a row. Fortune 500, top 100 cybersecurity companies, best for vets and so on. I got a whole slide of awards that Leidos has won in the past year. So if you want to work for a company that values its employees, that's got a career track for everybody, that's got room for growth, that allows you to be individuals, that has a voice. This is Leidos, okay? We don't just bring you on and then just stovepipe you and train you. We have a robust training track, okay? We talked a lot about training in the first of the morning class this morning. This is everything at your disposal. This is free. Leidos pays for all this training to give to you for free, okay? Who wants 100% free tuition assistance? Yeah. You join Leidos, and you say, you know what, Tom, I want to go finish my bachelor's degree. Right on, we got you. Hey, Tom, I want to go finish my master's degree. Right on, we got you. That's Leidos. That's what you get when you join a Fortune 500 company. Okay, those are some of your perks that you get. Okay, so again, this is all of our training tracks. We've got so much training out there. It's almost mind-numbing on where to go to get the training because we've got so much of the training. Okay, what we're looking for. Where, Jeremy, Bryce, and I work on task number 1, we've got 27 open positions right now. You can see in defense, 932, 3,300 overall. So again, plenty of work out there. What do we need? Who's heard of Sec Plus, Security Plus? Who's heard of CCNA? Okay, I know not everybody's in those tracks, but there are certain requirements that we have to get you on Scott Air Force Base. And these CompTIA certifications are one of them. To become a member of our team on Scott, you have to have at a minimum a Security Plus certificate. So based on your track here, you're going to go through that in your second year. Close to your graduation time, if I got that right. Okay.
Hey, Tom, I'll just add, for my students, I've had a handful plus of graduates go work on a Scott, and although we didn't study Security Plus in our curriculum, you know, you hit a book hard for a couple of weeks, I don't know, maybe a month. You hit a book hard, it's a lot of theory, right? If you have a foundation of IT skills, you hit a book hard for a week or a month, then you go take a cert, and I've had students pass that cert. So it's achievable. You just have to have those basic IT skills and study hard. That's,
All right? Yeah, 100%. I'll say it. I said it at lunch. If I can pass Sec Plus, you all can pass Sec Plus. And I say this because you're already doing the coursework. You're already in the mindset of studying every day. You all can do this. We brought on interns that did not have to have Sec Plus, because first year interns don't have to have Sec Plus. I tried to put these interns on our innovation section that does software development, and that manager's like, Tom, I can't bring them on, they gotta have Sec Plus. I said, they'll have it in 3 weeks. They had it in 3 weeks. So, like I've been saying, it's achievable. Yeah, it's a big book, got it, but the test is big. But this opens up doors for you. Bryce talked about Sec Plus, CCNA, A+. I tell him all the time the opportunities that he has now that he's got these certificates, okay? Yeah, he got it at Leidos, that's great, but if he chooses to leave, those doors are wide open with a security clearance, professional certifications. You're all in the driver's seat. But it's something that we have to have to work with us, okay? 2 4-year degree, but you know, and this is some of the stuff that we're looking for. So if you come to us with this, if you have this stuff on your resume, hey, we're getting interested. So again, we talked about using keywords. I'm giving you keywords right here to put on your resume on top of the job recs that we have out there. This is just more about 8570 and why we have to have it. I'm not going to bore you with it. Just know that it's a requirement. It's Department of Defense type stuff. Okay. Pay attention here to this slide just for a couple seconds. These are the top sexy certifications out there right now. This is what industry wants. Those salaries that you see, yeah, they're on the high side. I get it. These are seasoned people that have been in this profession for a while. These are the certifications that they have that demand that salary. So don't think when you graduate, you get that, you know, cyber assurance job that you're gonna roll in at 200,000. It's not gonna happen unless dad or mom own the company. Okay, you gotta work for it. But I wanted to show you opportunities that are out there. These are the ones in demand right now. Next year it's gonna change, okay? But this is the level of work you've gotta do to get to those salaries. It's not just getting the job, it's progressing through the jobs, it's learning. Almost done, folks. Scott Air Force Base open positions. These are the positions on the left-hand side, those are the job titles, okay? Here's the clearance requirements that we're looking for. Everybody that joins our team gets a security clearance. That's cool, because we pay for that, and then you get to keep it for a while. That's kind of cool. But these are some of the positions that we have. So you see, Windows system admin, network engineer. We've got analyst up there. We've got software development that's not on here, but we're hiring software development type things. Okay. I am going to leave this slide up, so you can go check out our cool site out there. But this is, I know we ran over. My apologies. I get long-winded, so. Let's open this up for questions right now. What questions do we have? Yes?
So working at GXMO job, what are like the preferred languages you would have somebody would want to know?
The coding languages? Great question. I was just telling Evan earlier that stuff is over my head. However, I know we use Python. I know we still use Java, C+. I heard Perl before. But I think the sections require different things. But I know Python for a minute was hot and heavy. We were really invested in that. Bryce, do you know what we're using?
I was gonna say English, but I guess you're talking about.
Jeremy said like everybody.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but I know a lot of my team uses a lot of Python, so yeah, that's the thing that I mainly see around in my team. So.
Tell you what, you email me, I'll give you an answer. How about that? Fair? Okay. Other questions? Yes.
So
And this kind of goes back to like the career development. How do you deal with like imposter syndrome? Have you ever dealt with that or have met anyone who dealt with that?
Fake till you make it? Yeah, that's what we call it. I think everybody does that kind of just involuntarily. To promote yourself, to grow, I think you've got to take a chance. So it kind of goes back to, why would I not apply for that job? Why would I, discredit myself or disqualify myself? I'm gonna apply. If I get the job, okay, I better learn it.
Yeah.
But in that interview, if they're asking me specific questions, darn right, I'm gonna be truthful. And if I don't get that job because I was truthful, I'm okay with that. But if I get the job because they see potential in me, yeah, I've got some learning. Trust me, I've been doing this job for 3 years now, my other manager job. I'm still learning. Just getting older, just not picking up things as fast anymore. So yeah, fake it till make it. It's a real thing. I think a lot of us do it. But we just make it work, and it's also work leaning on your coworkers to assist. We don't expect you to know everything. Jeremy's team can't do everything by themselves. They have to count on each other to assist. You got a guy that's been there for a month, you got a guy that's been there 7 years. They've got to work together to figure it out. Okay, other questions?
We got a question on screen.
Oh, I can't see the screen. Can somebody read it?
Says what is turnover like?
I'll tackle it. I'll be fair. Turnover is it's a good discussion. Down in ops where Jeremy's team works, we take a lot of entry level, graduates. We take, maybe some folks that have separated from the military. We take folks that have left other industry jobs and come over to DISA. So a lot of them have experience. A lot of them don't have a lot of experience. So we get them in. Some of them don't have clearances, so we get them clearances, okay? If they don't have like Sec Plus or their CCNA, their professional certifications, we help them get that, okay? So now they're a full up round, they're in there, they're working, okay? DISA, where we work, and GSMO, it is extremely unique. You will never find another domain like what we support every day. That JRSS that Jeremy talks about, that's unique to DISA. All the routing and the switching and the AISR and the missile defense, that is all DISA. You're not going to pick a company outside of base and expecting to get all this different technology. You're not. So we get these people that come into our organization, they work downstairs in that ops floor, day shift, mid shifts, night shift, whatever the case. They start putting this stuff on their resume. They start putting DISA, Leidos, GSMO, okay, because they're learning. And then in 6, 7 months, 2 years, whatever, they're like, hey, I'm just gonna float a resume. I'm not looking, I'm just gonna see what's out there. And then what happens? Other companies out there like, oh man, look at all this networking stuff that you've learned. You got a security clearance, you got your Sec Plus. We're gonna pay you a couple extra dollars. Now, if you're 25 years old and you're making a good amount of money, and somebody says, well, I'm gonna give you $40,000 more, what do? It's tough. So you asked, how's turnover? Yeah, turnover it's not crazy ridiculous. We obviously have people to do the work. Could we use more? Well, sure, okay, but we're a government contract. Our hands are tied with the amount of money that we could just pay. We don't have corporate funds to just, we're governed by how much we can pay to support. The government pays us a certain amount. We've got to manage that budget to do the job. That's tough. So Jeremy and Fred, they've got it tough down there because they're doing most of the entry level work. They're the ones doing all the cool stuff down there. They got the guys padding their resumes, putting all the cool stuff on and then floating it out there and leaving with a $40,000 extra that we can't compete with. What the other companies can't do is keep their security clearances, pay for their certifications, provide all this training that I showed you earlier, 100% tuition assistance, every year merit increases, bonuses. See, some of that stuff they can't compete with. But what's difficult is, again, I'm 25 years old. I just got floated a $40,000 raise. The hell with tuition assistance. So it's tough. And as managers, it's something these guys deal with every day. It's tough. How do you keep people? Okay, what incentive can you give people without giving them $40,000 that we just can't do it? So how's turnover? Yeah, we've got some turnover, but it's nothing that we're not used to. It's nothing that we're struggling with. We don't have empty seats where we're not fulfilling the mission around the globe. So hopefully that answered the question. Okay. What else we got? I'm on a roll now.
So when you're formatting your resume, if there's anything you have, say, what is it, you work with landscaping, right, but that was for like family or with another small thing that wasn't technically listed as a business, how would you be able to include that in your resume?
Absolutely. It was a job I had. And I've had plenty of intern resumes that have the same thing as Burger King, Wendy's, Walgreens. It's the same thing. Tell me what you did. Tell me how long you worked there. Tell me what you did. What was your impact of you working there? So if that was a family-owned business, how did you drive up sales? How did you engage the customer? How did you make the customer appreciate the work that you did? Were they happy? Did they come out and engage you? Did they give you a high five and say, man, Tony, that was great work? Show me something. Don't just put you work in landscaping. Don't tell me you moved bricks all day. What did you do? Show me some impact. How did you make the company money? How did you prove to me that customer satisfaction was a priority? Give me something, or else it's why put it? Same with Burger King. Okay, you work at Burger King. That's great. That's where we all started at. Okay. But what did you do at Burger King? You have to have some accolades, right? Were you the best fry cooker? Tell me you were the best fry cooker. Did you flip 20 burgers the fastest? Okay. Did you get promoted to shift lead?
That Domino guy that did folded 400 boxes.
Right. Separate yourself somehow.
The popcorn guy, have you seen the popcorn guy? At the movie theater?
Yeah.
Okay, don't lie, but sell yourself. Okay, I know we're running out of time, but
How does Leidos look at military experience?
how does Leidos look at military experience? Well, we 20% military is what makes our company. So yeah, we definitely consider military experience, especially if the military experience includes an active clearance. And if you're coming to us with like a Sec Plus or CCNA, yeah, we're pretty happy to talk to you. But yeah, we like our vets. Why do we like our vets? It's kind of like Ranken. The core values of the military is what we want. You're gonna show up on time. You're not gonna call off. You're gonna be respectful. You're gonna stay until the job's done. You're gonna make sure the customer's happy. You've got integrity, service before self. You've got the military moral code. Same thing Ranken instills in you. So it's almost the same. Yeah, I get a resume. Matter of fact, first class, gentleman was here. He had United States Marine Corps on there. He was in there for 9 years. I said, hey, you still got your clearance? He goes, yeah. I was working for Boeing. He said Boeing, and I kind of shivered a little bit. But he still got a clearance. What did I do? I took my pen, I wrote in the upper right-hand corner of his resume, and I got it sitting right over there. What do you think I'm going to do with that resume when I get back? He graduates December of 24. He's eligible to be an intern, and I might be able to get him in this summer because he's got a clearance. Just like that. I know everybody doesn't have the same opportunities to get clearances. I get it. But that's kind of like a pink unicorn. He just like flew into my life. I'm glad he didn't hit it. Okay, what else we got? Okay, thank you so much. Business cards are in the back. I truly, when I tell you to reach out to me. You got questions, reach out to me. I can't tell you enough that Rankin's got the student services, the professional services, the resume writing and all. Use them. They're there for you. You're paying for it. Use them, okay? If you send me an email, say, Tom, man, please just take 5 minutes, look at my resume. Oh, I'll look at your resume. I will, I promise you. And I'll give you feedback. And if you don't like my feedback, oh, okay, well, I mean, I looked at it. So use me too. Use your school resources. That's what they're there for. They're here to make you successful. I'm here to help you prepare for the job fair. When?
March 16th.
How are we dressing? Professionally, right? But we're showing up. We're gonna have professional resumes. Our resumes are gonna be catered, they're gonna be updated, we're gonna look at it, we're gonna spend some time on it, because how important are they?
Very.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. All right, take care, thank you.
Yeah, we have, that question.
I did, I almost got
What are you guys retired? 20 years, 30 years. Important. So he wants to be a network guy. We heard him. He's on the floor as a network guy. And that's crazy. So we took a chance with like, when he's doing this, he's gonna have one of two things. He's either gonna have the drive that he had to make command chief or command sergeant major, or it's gonna be below him, and we'll know that very quick. And he's down there, but pulling.
You also might get a win-win out of this. He might sell it, right?
So that's what I'm saying.
He did much better.
That question, right? Military. This guy didn't, and that's kind of where I thought he might be
Everything I
going.
told you.
My military's
All
not
about
like.
things he knows.
This dude was
Don't rely on looking at your cards.
I'm just looking for something different, right? I mean,
You aced it again.
Hey,
Thank you,
so much.
thank you.
I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to come here.
Our students are in debt. They owe you.
No,
No, that's great. Thank you so much.
you bet, man. Happy to do it. And like I said, we'll be here on, March 16th. I think we drilled that in them.
attrition too, right? The turnover, right? Some of it's good turnover.